Dear learners, in part 1, we have discussed about anti-nutrients in food and their classification based on specific action divided into type A, B and C. We have seen that plants are good sources of protease inhibitors which protect them against diseases, insects, pests and herbivores. We have also studied about the adverse effects of protease inhibitors and lectins. In this part of the module, we shall discuss the two other categories of anti-nutrients, viz. Type B, which are antiminerals, and type C, which are antivitamins.
Now let us take up type B anti-nutrient.
Type B anti-nutrients include phytates, oxalic acid and oxalates, dietary fiber and gossypol. Now,
Phytate is the main storage form of plants
and is associated with proteins.
Phytate is also known as inositol hexakis phosphate.
Is the salt form of phytic acid found in plants, animals and soil. Phytic acid present in the hulls of nuts, seeds and grains is known as a chelating agent and has a strong binding affinity for calcium, magnesium, iron, copper and zinc. Now, phytic acid is present in pulses at levels ranging from 0.4 to 2.3%. There is concern about its essence in sustenance as it diminishes the bioavailability of numerous basic minerals by associating with multivalent cations or potentially proteins to frame complexes that might be insoluble or generally inaccessible under physiologic conditions. Suppression of iron absorption by phytates is what tends to get the most attention, but then zinc, calcium and phosphorus are also affected. Now, let us move to the next anti-nutrient, that is oxalic acid and oxalates. A salt formed from oxalic acid is known as oxalate. These are naturally present in many foods. Oxalate is regarded as an anti-nutrient which under normal conditions is confined to separate compartments. However, when it is processed and or digested, it comes into contact with the nutrients in the gastrointestinal tract. It binds to calcium during the process of digestion in the stomach and intestine and leaves the body in the stool. If food with excessive amount of oxalic acid is consumed regularly, nutritional deficiencies may occur as well as result in severe irritation to the lining of the gut. Now, oxalate that is not bound to calcium travels as a waste product from the blood to the kidneys where it leaves the body in the urine. Now, there are several different types of kidney stones, but 8 out of 10 stones are calcium oxalate stones. So, if there is too much of oxalate and little liquid in the urine, calcium oxalate fragments are created. As the crystal begin to increase in number, they stick to one another to form a larger crystal known as kidney stone. Oxalates are also known to bind calcium and prevent its absorption. Foods high in oxalate include nuts and nut butters, especially almonds and various vegetables such as beets and beet greens, rhubarb and spinach. Let us now move to dietary fiber. Clinically, dietary fiber may be defined as non-starch polysaccharide and lignin. Non-starch polysaccharide includes cellulose and non-cellulose polysaccharides. Non-cellulose polysaccharides among the substances classified are
arabinoxylans,
hemicelluloses, pectins and storage polysaccharides such as inulin and guar. Non-starch polysaccharides contribute the major fraction of polysaccharides. Dietary fiber may also be classified as insoluble, which includes cellulose, hemicelluloses, lignin, and soluble, pectins, gums and mucilages. Now, investigations have shown that the soluble viscous polysaccharides slow down the rate of absorption of nutrients from the small intestine, but not necessarily the total nutrient absorption. Oat bran, which is an example of soluble fiber, has been shown to bind phospholipids, thereby reducing their availability in the aqueous phase in which the digestive enzymes operate. This may not significantly affect total nutrient absorption of small intestine, but could affect the site of absorption from the small intestine. The underlying mechanism of the other apparently negative effect of dietary fiber, that of reduced response of the body to changes in plasma glucose, is not well understood. Studies suggest that it may be a response to the effects of pectins and gums on the stomach. Now, the next one in type B category is gossypol. Gossypol is the primary toxic principle found in whole cottonseed and cottonseed meal. Now, this is a yellow polyphenolic pigment produced in high concentrations in the seeds of cotton plant. Gossypol isomers exist in two states, bound and unbound. Covalent protein adducts typically with lysine residues, with the unbound form being the most toxicologically active. The bound gossypol can be partially released by heating with acids. During processing, the seeds are sliced into flakes to facilitate extraction of oil for use in salad oil, margarine and shortening. The remaining cottonseed flakes, together with some free gossypol, are ground into cottonseed meal for use as a protein supplement for livestock. Gossypol is known to have a cumulative toxic effect in both monogastric and ruminant animals. The adverse effects of gossypol on reproduction were first recognized in humans in China during the 1930s and 1940s. Not a single childbirth was reported in an area of China where, out of economic necessity, crude cottonseed oil was substituted for soybean oil in cooking. Afflicted women suffered from amenorrhea and the men were impotent. Subsequent studies of gossypol as a birth control agent in humans received widespread attention. Let us now move to the type C anti-nutrients, which include vitamin A antagonist, vitamin K antagonist, vitamin C antagonist, vitamin B antagonist, aspirin antibiotics and diuretics, laxatives, chemical fertilizers, water, air and soil. We will be discussing each one in detail. Now, coming to vitamin A antagonist, vitamin A is also depleted when nitrous amines are formed in the stomach from the union of nitrites with secondary amines, and when the mucous membranes of respiratory passages are exposed to air pollutants, that is carbon monoxide, ozone, sulfur dioxide, nitrogen dioxide. In addition, mineral oil used as laxative absorbs vitamin A and carotene, a naturally occurring substance in foods which is used by the body to make vitamin A, thereby destroying it. blood thinning medications and other drugs including aspirin, phenobarbital, arsenicals and dicumarol. This is a drug used medically to retard blood clotting. It destroys vitamin A in the body. Vitamin K antagonists. The amount of vitamin K that is needed by humans is very small, and a deficiency is very unlikely to occur because this vitamin is present in a variety of commonly eaten plant foods, and also it is synthesized by the bacteria in the intestinal tract. However, antibiotic therapy, that is the taking of any antibiotics such as penicillin, streptomycin, tetracycline, chloromycin, terramycin, etc., suppresses bacterial growth and consequently the synthesis of vitamin K, which might lead to a deficiency of vitamin K. Other vitamin K antagonists include the drugs dicumarol and hydrocumarol, which are used by medical people to relieve thrombosis. Thrombosis is the abnormal formation of blood clots in the blood vessels. Because the chemical structure of these antivitamins is similar to that of vitamin K, they act as anticoagulants by interfering with the synthesis of prothrombin and the other natural clotting factors. Now, let us see the vitamin C antagonists. It is well known that cigarette smokers have lower vitamin C levels. Calcium and phosphorus, both minerals, are depleted in cigarette smokers because vitamin C reacts with any alien substance in the bloodstream. All drugs and pollutants can be considered to be vitamin C antagonists. Some of the foremost vitamin C antagonists include ammonium chloride, stribestrol, thiouracil, atropine, barbiturates and antihistamines. Alcoholic beverages and stress due to surgery, emotional outbursts and upsets, acute pressures, extremes of heat and cold, and all drugs are all vitamin C antagonists. Moving to vitamin B antagonists, cortisone is an antagonist of vitamin B6, that is pyridoxines. Since the body needs B vitamins to metabolize sugars, B vitamins are depleted when refined sugar or flour is consumed because these are devoid of B vitamins that existed originally in the beet, cane or the grain before refining. Specifically, the body's supply of vitamin B1, vitamin B2, biotin, choline, niacin and the mineral magnesium are depleted when refined sugar and flour are consumed. Alcoholic beverages are antagonists of thiamine and other B complex vitamins, and coffee is another popular beverage that is a B vitamin antagonist because it contains caffeine and other noxious substances, one of which is chlorogenic acid. Inositol deficits may occur among coffee drinkers too, as well as deficits of both biotin and thiamine. Raw fish and raw shellfish, including oysters, are also B complex antagonists. This is one of the many reasons not to eat Japanese dish sashimi, that is raw fish, or any other raw seafood. Birth control pills are antivitamins, especially of the B vitamin, riboflavin, vitamin B6, vitamin B12 as well as folic acid. The estrogen in the oral contraceptives is also known to be an antagonist of vitamin E. Vitamin B1 is influenced by the enzyme thiaminase, Other antivitamin agents present in ferns or cereal grains, the synthetic antivitamin pyrithiamine, which is a vitamin analog, and an increased intake of carbohydrate that increases the need of the vitamin, and hence it can have an antivitamin effect. Now, the most potent folacin, that is folic acid antagonist, is aminopterin. This substance has been used in the medical treatment of leukemia, a disease in which there is a marked increase in the production of leukocytes, that is the white blood cells. Now, aminopterin has in some cases resulted in a temporary relief of leukemia, but it does not cure this disease at all. Now, the antirachitic activity of a food will not only depend on vitamin D content, but will be antagonized by antivitamin factor, phytic acid, calcium is to phosphorus ratio, acid base balance, excess of fat which tends to precipitate calcium salts, and lactose. Now, we move on to the next antinutrients, which are aspirin, antibiotics, and diuretics. Aspirin is known to interfere with digestive processes and can result in stomach bleeding. It also interferes with the blood clotting, and it lessens the ability of cells to absorb glucose for heat and energy. It depletes most, if not all, nutrients and results in especially high losses of vitamin C and the B vitamins, plus the minerals calcium and potassium. Now, penicillin is an antivitamin of vitamin K and B6. The antibiotic streptomycin is a folic acid antagonist, and the antibiotic streptomycin inactivates manganese. Now, this is a mineral which is needed for the functioning of many enzymes in the body. Diuretics, if given, result in great losses of B vitamins, vitamin C, other vitamins, and the minerals potassium and magnesium. Now, coming to laxatives, all laxatives including the herbal types are known to be vitamin antagonist. Mineral oil is perhaps the most devastating laxative. It absorbs vitamin A and carotene as well as the other fat soluble vitamins, that is vitamin D, E and K. It also absorbs calcium and phosphorus, carrying them out of the body. Now, coming to chemical fertilizers as antinutrients. Now, these contain excessive nitrogen. Nitrates and nitrites are formed which reduce the vitamin A stored in the liver. Nitrites combine with amines in the stomach, forming nitrosamines, and these are known to be highly carcinogenic. Role of water, air and soil as antinutrients. Nitrites, chlorine, fluorides, inorganic minerals are antivitamins present in untreated groundwater. Carbon monoxide, hydrocarbons, lead, ozone, sulfur dioxide and nitrogen dioxide pollutants, if present in air, deplete the vitamins A, C and E. Now, arsenic dust, which is generally found on commercially grown produce, is an antagonist of the B vitamin para-amino benzoic acid. Now, this is an important vitamin which is required for the growth of valuable bacteria in the intestines, for the metabolism of proteins, for manufacture of red blood cells and for healthy skin and hair. So, here we conclude the anti-nutrients that are categorized under type B and type C. So, therefore, learners, in this part of the module we have discussed the anti-nutrients present in food which interfere with the utilization of both minerals and vitamins in the digestive tract. We have seen that phytate affects the absorption of iron, zinc, calcium and phosphorus, whereas oxalate are known to bind to calcium and prevent its absorption in the gut. Oxalates are in excess may also lead to kidney stones, which we have discussed earlier. Then soluble viscous polysaccharides may slow down the rate of absorption of nutrients from the small intestine, thereby leading to nutrient deficiencies. Gossypol, a compound present in cottonseed and cottonseed meal, has a cumulative toxic effect in humans and animals. The antagonists of vitamin A, K, B, C with effects of certain drugs, laxatives and chemical fertilizers resulting in nutrient losses have also been discussed.